I'm live, I'm live, I'm live. Whoa, I'm live. I'm live, I'm live. Well, couldn't hit that bottom note like I wanted to. Let me clean my lens up for y'all, so you can hold on, so it won't be so. Oh, there it is. It's better. Okay, I'm live, I'm live, I'm live. I'm live, I'm live, I'm live. I'm live, I'm live. Hello, whomever just joined. God be the glory. Hello to you. Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. I'm gonna wait just for a few and, you know, maybe we can get just a couple more people to join. If not, that's all right. To God be the glory for the one who made it present. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Alrighty. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to God Scope, formerly known as Life of Bree Bree. I am Bree Bree. And this channel is God's scope on life, on situations, on people, on things, how he's dealt with me and how he's dealing with me in my journey. And so, yeah, so it went from Life of Bree Bree, because I was just, doing whatever. Not in like a bad way, but it was just like silly post or whatever. And so I have been given the push, if you will, by God to go ahead and make the decision to do this. And so I have made the decision to launch Godscope. Welcome to everyone who's just joining. Just doing a little intro. This used to be titled Life of Bree Bree. And I'm Bree Bree. And I was given the idea probably about a year ago to do a YouTube channel called Godscope, and it would be just basically God's view, perspective, his scope on things and how he deals with us. And so I'm repeating it for the people who are just joining. Welcome. I was this past weekend or so, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This past weekend, I was fortunate enough to hear Apostle Matthew Stevenson speak at All Nations Atlanta. And they were celebrating a 1 year anniversary this past weekend. And not only with just that, but another thing was I heard the Lord say 3 times on 3 different occasions to make a decision. It's time to make a decision. You have to go ahead and do this. And so I started asking, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I doing? What is this? What is that? And so I would like to tag this text for preaching, as my old pastor, Reverend Bobby B. Cox would say. Not gonna be preaching, but just asking the right questions is what I'm going to be dealing with. And I would just, say, okay, God, well, what do you want me to do? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And this, that, and the third. And I had a moment yesterday. I got up, I prayed, and I was like, okay, God, what do you want me to do today? How can I serve you today, oh Lord? And how can, I make you great? What can I do to please you? What is required of me on today? And so I hopped in the car with like no plan or anything, and I was just like, okay, God, lead me to where you want me to go. And he had me go to a Goodwill in like Lower Roswell area. And I was in there, just looking around, and I'm like, okay, God, where do you want me to do? Why did you bring me here? And and he was like, go to this lady. Didn't say, go to this lady, I want you to tell her this. And, and then just like leave or whatever. All he said was, go to this lady. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, what do I do? Like, what do I say when I go up to her? Like, what if she doesn't receive what I have? Like, what's going to happen? And I was just like, oh God, I'm so scared and I'm so fearful because I don't like talking to strangers. I don't like going up to random people. I just like the whole idea of like strangers bothers me. Like just walking up to people, you have how you have people who like don't meet a stranger, like they're just cool with everybody. Oh, there's free, and how you have those people. I'm not one of those people. That ain't my portion. Okay, I once I get to know it, I don't. Okay, we're gonna move on from that. Anyways, I ended up in the store for probably like 15 minutes because I would not go up to this lady. I just wouldn't do it. I was so scared. And I felt like Moses when, God told him to go to Pharaoh and say this. And he's like, well, how is Pharaoh going to listen to me? You know what I'm saying? My own people don't listen to me. Well, what if he doesn't receive? What is he's already making, it harder on the people? And what if, and oh my gosh, and all this and all of that. And I was just like so freaking out. So let me tell you. I decided I wasn't going to do it. I know. I know. I decided I wasn't going to do it. So I found me a cute little Victoria's Secret bag that I use as a tote to put in my Bible and stuff. That's a whole nother side note, but it was really cute and it was $4.99. So I got it. So anyway, I'm leaving out, and the lady that he told me to go to was standing near the exit, and he stopped me in my tracks, and I literally could not move. And he's like, I told you to go up to her. So I'm like, okay. And I go up to the lady and I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. And she's like, yes. And I literally don't know what to say because God hasn't told me I want you to go up to her and say this or whatever. And so I go up to her and I give her the message and she's like, no. And I was like, yes. And so, he's like, you're on the right path. So I tell her, you're on the right path. And she's like, no. Oh, excuse me. She's like, no. And I said, yes, you're on the right path. And she's looking around like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, you, ma'am, I'm talking to you. And so she's like, path of what? Because she's in the aisle. She's in the aisle. She's like, yeah, I'm on the right path. This is the aisle I want to be on. I'm looking at shirts. It's white shirts. I want a white shirt. I'm looking, yes. And I don't know what you're talking about. And so she's like, right path of what? And I was like, of life. She's like, oh, okay. And so then like, I was like, okay. And then after that, I was like, this burden just lifted off of me. I put so much pressure on myself about that. And I brought up the whole weekend with Matthew Stevenson because that's what he dealt with, pressure, the power of pressure. And oh my gosh, I put so much pressure on myself. Once I said it, it was like a big relief. When I tell you, when I got in the car, God hijacked me by my collar. It was like, don't you ever. If I tell you to do something, I want you to do it. And it made me realize that when I prayed, I must ask the right questions because that's what I'm dealing with. Asking the right questions. I asked, God, what can I do for you today? How can I serve you today? How can I please you today? And he told me what to do on how I can serve him. Go here. How I can please him. Go up to this lady. And how I can, better help the kingdom or whatever. He told me what to do. And I said, no, I'm scared. And so I realized I'm not about that life yet. If you're not about that life, on asking, if you are not like, okay, God, take me wherever you want me to go. And you know that you're not about the life of going to the hood and speaking to that person. Don't ask the right questions. Okay? The right questions. You know you're right. It was like I should have just been like, okay, God, do you want me to do this today? But that's safe, you know? And for me in my journey, I want to be bold. I want to go out there and I want to have that, be able to go up and just talk and evangelize to random people and share. I want that. So I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful because it taught me that I wasn't as prepared in my walk and I'm not as mature as I thought I was. And I'm not as prepared as I thought I was to be able to do the things that I want to do for God. And so, notice I said that I want to do for God. And I've got my notes right here. So that's what I'm looking down. And so I was just looking at my notes. Like, we ask God for things that we're not ready for. We have to be ready. We have to be ready. And so today, in my praying and still dealing with asking the right questions, like, if you're looking for, let's say, you've got a job interview or you're going to like a function or something, so you need the right dress. Okay, you're looking for a particular color or particular style or particular suit, or just the right watch to set the suit off, or just the right jewelry or whatever, and you're looking around and you can't really find it, but then you see like the dress or you see the watch and you're like, that's the one. That's the one. That's it right there. And in my praying today, I'm like, okay, God, still dealing with asking the right questions. What do I ask? What is it that you want me to ask? And he was just like, that's the one. That's the right question for you to ask. What is it that I want? Because I'm telling you what I want, and you still want to do whatever you want to do, and you're afraid of, or whatever it is. And this is what I have written down. There are times in our lives when we seek God asking all kinds of questions, and that's the one. Once you find the perfect question to ask of God, he will pour out all of his infinite wisdom upon you. And lately, he's been dealing with me about asking the right questions, as I've said. And I've sought the Lord about many things in my journey. And it wasn't until I started asking the right questions that my questions were answered more. In seeking God on today, as I started telling you, I heard for the third time about asking. First, it was from Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 7 through 8. Ask and you shall receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open unto you. That passage, that was first. Then the next day, because I go through BibleGateway.com, and actually I use their app, and they have the verse for the day. So 2 days ago, it was Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 7 through 8. Yesterday, it was James 1, verse 5 through 6, asking about wisdom. Still dealing with asking the questions, asking the right questions. And then today, I was doing my hair and the TV was on downstairs and Touched by an Angel was on. And I heard just a snippet, and it was, I don't understand why humans are afraid to ask. Because, Tess, I don't know if you watched Touched by an Angel. I did growing up. And Tess, one of the angels, was saying, I don't know why it's so hard for humans to ask for help. The Lord is there and he wants to do things for you. He wants to help you. You just have to ask. And I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you, Lord. What am I to ask? I hear you, God. What is there to ask, you know? And so that was the third time I heard it watching Touched by an Angel. I hate they took that show off. You know, it ran its course. Della gone. Della is gone, y'all. Della is gone to glory. But it was still just a great show. And so that was the third time I heard about asking. So first was, you know, dealing with Matthew 7, 7 through 8, ask, seek, knock, which in itself, the first three letters are ask. And then ask for wisdom was the second, dealing with James 1, verse 5 through 6. And then today was touched by an angel. Touched by an angel. Ask for help. Ask. God is there. He wants to ask. We have nothing to fear. We have nothing to fear. All God wants to know is that you are going to be there and that you're going to do it. And so I shall continue on. In my quest to find the perfect question, I asked God a series of questions. And it wasn't until I asked God to show me the that's the one question that I found my answer. And when seeking God about anything in your life, it is important to find the that's the one question. He will, of course, answer all of your questions, even the ones he's silent about, because in his silence, there is an answer. That is an answer. And I guess you can call it like having a aha moment. Like God's like, you get it. You get it now. It's okay. You get it. And I found that in that experience with Goodwill and me being so fearful, in hearing Matthew Stevenson speak on this past Sunday night, and he said that the words fear not was listed 365 times in the Bible. I may have been the only person that caught it the first time, because when I tell you I shouted like nobody's business, because he was saying that every day we will have a challenge about something. And even just this past weekend, dealing with not fearing and dealing with discouragement and not letting discouragement be our tool and be our weapon of choice. I was so just like, God, what in the world? What am I going to do? You know, what do I say? Like, I'm going up to this random lady in Goodwill, and he's just like, I asked you to go. That's it. I got the rest. You know, it's just like, I like to use the analogy of like a delivery person or like a UPS driver. They're responsible for delivering the package. That's it. Whether they put it on your doorstep, leave it by the mailbox, leave it by the garage, wherever they put it, they are responsible for delivering the package. Now, what you do with the package is up to you. Whether you leave it right where it is for a couple of days, you bring it in, you sit it on the counter and let it stay there for a while, or, you wait till after you finish scrolling on Instagram to open it, or after you finish, watching your Snapchat or creating your Snapchat video, whatever it is, the UPS person, the delivery person is only responsible for delivering the package. So, in that, I was just thinking like, God, what if she doesn't receive it? What if she, how do I have the words? And oh my goodness, and this, that, and the third. And all I was responsible for was delivering the package, delivering whatever the message was. What she does with it is totally on her. That's between her and God. He will use her as how he sees fit, and it may not register to her until she's doing something later. That's not on me anymore. And even in those situations where it's just like, okay, go here and do this, God will give you the words. That's what I had to learn. This was such a learning. I'm so grateful for these classes that I'm taking with God because it was such a learning experience. God will give you the words. The Holy Spirit creates the language. He reveals the words that you're, all you have to do is go. He wants to know that you're going to go. The UPS driver is not like, well, what if they don't open their package today? What if they're not home? What do I do? They're not freaking out over that. Their only responsibility is to deliver the package. Still dealing with asking the right questions. Okay. And he is seeking us to do his will and his work. But first, we must ask the right question. Ask the that's the one questions, the aha moment questions with God. He then sees that you're getting it. And there are times when God gets frustrated with us, like he did Moses in Exodus 4, after he had given him instructions, and Moses kept protesting God, as it's used in the New Living Translation. It says protesting. And finally, God was like, fine, I'll get Aaron to speak for you since you're so worried about your speech. And honestly, when I wrote this earlier today, and I had just come out of my that's the one prayer moment with God. And so I had just had a moment like that when I was going to apply for a position. And I'm like, God, is this the position? Because I prayed, and he had dealt with me about making decisions, and this is not a season for indecisiveness. The opening of heaven is now. God has given me visions, and I'm so grateful for it. And if anything that you want, now is the season to declare it. I mean, of course he's going to do whatever, but the windows of heaven are open. The heavens are open. And so now is the time to really declare the things of God, the things of heaven, petitioning God, asking God, seeking God, and knocking on the door of heaven until he comes to the front door. Like, what do you want? God, I need some bread. Send me some bread, God. Deliver me, whatever it is, be persistent in it. And so I made the decision to apply for a job. And so in my prayer, I'm like, okay, God, was that the right position to apply for? And so is there another one? What am I supposed to do? And so I applied for a position. I'm like, okay, God, is this the one? And God's like, that's the one. I'm like, are you sure, God? Like, is this the position? And oh, Holy Ghost, activate within me, God, and remove all distractions, Lord. And he's like, that's the one. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to speak for you, Lord. And he's like, you know my voice. And I'm like, I know your voice, but I don't want to make this decision, and I don't want to lean onto my own understanding. And God's like, you know my voice. Like, God was legit getting frustrated with me. Like, you know my voice. Why? I've already chill. Like, and he stopped speaking. God stopped talking to me. He gave me the silent treatment. I was so like, okay. But he did. He gave me the silent treatment. And so I'm like, okay, God, I'm so sorry. Again, asking the right question. I already asked the question. He said that's the one. And here I am still in my doubt and my fear of, well, what if I didn't hear you right? What am I going to do? This, that, and the third. And honestly, once God speaks, that should be it. And I hear people say that. I hear preachers and teachers saying that, like, once God speaks, that's it. The reward is in that. The rejoice is in that. And I'm like, yes, yeah, God ain't got to repeat himself to me. Hallelujah. But I am the main one doing that. The main one. Like, repeating and continually asking, like, Okay. And God is just like, look, I said what I said. Have you seen those like posts and stuff? He's like, I said what I said. And he was just like, I'm not saying anymore. So, long story short, I did apply for it. And so I'm just like, okay, God. And the what I also had written down, like, the worst that they can say, or the worst, not even the worst, but the like only thing they could say to me is, we've decided to go with another candidate. Thank you for your submission. And like, nothing lost. Absolutely nothing lost. We get so caught up in like the what ifs of things, and oh, I don't want to do this. What if this and what if and what if and what if, and it's just like, I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose by telling the lady what he said. Of course, there were consequences. I'm sure he would have reprimanded me, but I had nothing to lose. The only thing she could have said, like she said, was no, no, no. Like, that's it. Ay, ay, ay. I have this lastly. In anything you are doing, make sure you lean not into your own understanding. I was doing. Seek first God. Need to do. Ask for wisdom. Ask the right questions, and He will let you know if that's the one. I hope you are blessed by this. I hope this message was good to you. Please leave any comments and experiences that you have in the comment section. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share God Scope with your friends and your people. Be blessed. I pray that God continues to bless you throughout this season. May the month of your January be great. May you see exciting, new, fresh ways and moves of God. May miracle signs and wonders blow your mind. May you ask the right questions, be in tune with God, listen to His voice, and He will let you know that that's the one. Be blessed. Good night. Thank you for watching God Scope. See you guys next time.